here from Miss McKenna's Life Leverage, and today I'm presenting to you my ultimate motivational spread for my 2018 bullet journal. I want to start 2018 off on the right foot to give me the best chance of having the most amazing year so far and the best chance of achieving my goals. So I want to launch myself into 2018 with positivity and a sense of empowerment, and I want to encourage all of you to do that too. So this spread is specifically designed to help you find the motivation and upliftment you need on days where you might be feeling a little down and you need a pick-me-up, for when you need a little extra fire in your belly to encourage you to take those steps towards your dreams, or even for just when you want to take some time out to nurture your soul. So far, it's a 3-part spread, and I'll continue with the second half sometime later this month. Each section is designed to help you tap into your brain's subliminal power to help making achieving the life you want easier to accomplish, and I'll go into detail on how that works a bit later. For the title page, I've chosen the words "Uplift Yourself," and I did this for a very important reason. This reason being that it's nobody else's responsibility to build the life of your dreams. It's yours and yours alone. Now, there are 2 ways to look at this. The first is to maybe feel a little overwhelmed with the responsibility of it all, but the second and most empowering way to look at it is this. Nobody else is going to care about your life and your happiness as much as you are. Nobody else knows exactly what you want or need in your life as accurately as you do, and nobody else is going to put as much effort and time into you as you can, because they have their own life and that they're living and their own happiness to work on. So thank goodness it's your choice and in your power to change it. If you take the responsibility for your own happiness, you'll start to feel empowered and motivated to become the best version of yourself that you can be. So that was my thinking behind these words. I've chosen to decorate this spread with bumblebees because, according to traditional methods of flight, taking into account the surface area of the bee's wings and its weight, a bumblebee shouldn't actually be able to fly. But of course, bumblebees can fly because they have their own special, unconventional way of going about it. So for me, the bees represent achieving my desires, even if someone tells me I can't or shouldn't be able to do it. And if that means doing it in a way that nobody else has thought of yet, then I shall endeavour to find it. As usual, I'm using my Staedtler pigment liner pens to outline this spread, and I'll be using my Tombow Tombows to colour it in. And again, I'll be leaving a link in the description for those. To create this overall look, I took inspiration from one of those adult colouring Zen book thingies. They're all the rage now, and they're really great for a bit of inspiration because they're usually quite simple line drawings that you just colour in. So if you're pretty artistic, you can replicate them in your bullet journal simply by copying them. Or if you're not particularly artistic, because of the simplicity of most of the images, it's nice and easy to trace around the pictures using some bog standard tracing paper and transfer it into your bullet journal to make it all a bit brighter and nicer to look at, which of course will encourage you to use your journal more often. And you can find tons of those sort of adult colouring books with lots of different themes online. For the font, I just used Google image search and I just typed in pretty fonts, and it comes up with so many to choose from. So I just picked one that I liked and traced it directly off of my laptop screen. I'll probably print some of my favourites out at some point so that they're directly to hand when I need them and I can just trace off them whenever I like them. Oh, look how cute those bees are. Anyway, so this next page is titled The Sweetness of Life, and it's a place to write down all the things that you enjoy about life and the world. Even if it's something small and might seem insignificant to someone else, it doesn't matter. If it brings you joy, put it down in there. It's not a test that you have to get right. Everybody's answers will be different, and if it takes you a little while to think of some things, it doesn't matter. There's no time limit. The most important thing is to make sure you're including the things that truly spark joy and awaken a feeling of gratitude within yourself. It's so very important to acknowledge the things in life that you love and enjoy. And not just because you're taught to by your parents when you're younger to be grateful, just because it's the right thing to do, but because if you actively acknowledge the good in your life, you will experience more of it. If you're heavily involved in the bullet journal community, you'll find that a lot of people have sections to note down all the things that they're grateful for. And it's not just because it's an extra thing you can put in your bullet journal to take up space. There's a reason for it, and it's becoming more widely acknowledged. If you're spiritually minded, you can link this to the law of attraction. What you focus on, you attract. What you think about, you bring about, etc., etc. But if you're more scientifically minded and need a bit more proof, look at it this way. At any given time, your conscious mind is absorbing 11 million pieces of information, but you're only aware of about 40 to 2,000 pieces. So what happens to all the other pieces that you're not aware of? Well, the brain has ignored them because over time you've conditioned your brain to only acknowledge the things that you deem important. There is too much information to absorb in one go, so you only notice the things that you've trained yourself to notice, and you do that by giving them your conscious attention. It's a bit like when you're thinking about buying a new car, suddenly you start seeing the car all over the place, and it's not because before they just weren't there and now they are. They were always there, but because you've consciously told your brain that it's important by putting your focus on it, your brain starts to notice the car more. And it works the same way with everything. The problem is most people are putting their focus on the things that we don't want because that's just what we're trained to do. And so we notice more of the things that we don't want because our brain brings them to our attention. But it also works the other way around. If you focus on the things you like and love and enjoy, your brain will assume that those things are important and bring more of them to your attention. So this page is an easy way to start gradually training your mind to notice the good things in life and to remind you to try to do this more often throughout your day so that you experience joy and upliftment more often throughout your life. It will train you to stand more and more in an expectation of witnessing the evolution of your desires. So, of course, I decorated this page with more bumblebees. I added in a jar and some honey, and then I just used my Tombows to create that sort of honeycomb shape. And I'll use these spaces to put my most favourite things that make life sweet, like my children's smiles, spending time with my friends and my family, cozy nights in front of the telly, snuggled up with hot chocolate, basically anything that the mere thought of brings me a sense of upliftment and joy. This spread is a place to note down all your achievements, goals that you've already accomplished. It's a place to help you acknowledge that you've already achieved lots in your life. Now, I know it can be hard to do this if you're not in a very good place at the minute, so don't try to force it because it needs to be things that you are genuinely proud of, so that when you have to overcome some sort of obstacle or you start questioning your ability to take the next step in something, you have a spread that you can visit to boost your confidence and remind you of what you can achieve if you put your mind to it. You're reinforcing your belief in yourself to achieve your goals, and you're giving your confidence levels a good foundation. If you struggle to find something to put here, you can try looking at someone that you admire already. Something about their personality or their morals or their achievements, and then have a look and see if you can find any similarities between you. Again, this is a private space that is just for you. You're not in competition with anyone. These don't have to be things that will impress other people. These are only things that will impress you. There's a saying that goes, comparison is the thief of joy. And it's so true. I know lots of people tend to compare their bullet journals to what they see on Instagram, and they end up being too frightened to even start, or they just end up ashamed of their own journals. So don't do that to yourself in any area of your life. The only fair way to compare yourself to someone would be to compare yourself to an exact version of yourself. And that means the only competition that you're actually in is the one that you're in with yourself. And nobody else decides on the rules, only you do. So be proud of the things that you've achieved so that you're well equipped to move on to even greater things. Now we're onto the slightly controversial spread. I don't know if you noticed the word compliments in the opening photo sequence and cringed, but when I mentioned doing this collection to my mum and I told her I was making a spread for all the compliments I received, she sort of ummed and ahed about it. And it's for this reason. It's taboo to compliment yourself. People put a really high value on being modest, and that in itself isn't a bad thing. But when it gets to a point where you find it difficult to receive compliments, it becomes a problem. If you're like most people, myself included sometimes, it's much easier to remember the criticisms and insults that people direct towards you. And we seem to stew over them and pick them apart for a hint of truth, and sometimes we torture ourselves with them. But how often do you actually bask in a compliment someone has given you? How often do you remember it and enjoy it and feel proud about it? How easily do compliments come to mind? How easy do you find it to compliment yourself? No, I'm not saying you should walk up to everyone you meet and tell them how great you are, but what I'm saying here is that sometimes life gets hard. It knocks you back and it chips at your confidence. And so, how great would it be to have your own personal cheerleader that reminds you of what a great person you are and how smart or clever or insightful or resilient you are? Wouldn't it be great to have someone that picks you up and dusts you off and cheers you on after you've fallen down? So, why can't that person be you? You're with yourself 24 hours, 7 days a week for the rest of your life. You are always on hand. You don't have to call yourself or write a letter to yourself. You're right there. If you train yourself to notice and accept and remember compliments, and better yet, learn to compliment yourself, you have a much better chance of cheering yourself on when you're down. What better person to lean on than yourself? So learn to be someone that you can rely on, and then when you hit those roadblocks in life, you'll never fail to have someone to turn to in your hour of need. There's only one of you, there only ever will be one of you, and you're bringing yourself along for the entire journey of this life. So learn to love yourself and make friends with yourself. So I'm just going back through now and adding some green to all the leaves to finish off. And that's the end of part one of this collection. I really hope you enjoyed it. And I just wanted to say a huge thank you for all your support and kind words. I've been so overwhelmed with the response my first video got. And I know this isn't strictly a traditional plan with me, and I know this sort of content isn't for everyone, so I will be doing more traditional monthly plan with me's, and I'll definitely be uploading some more videos for pre-planning for 2018. So much love to you all, and I can't wait to share more with you. Bye!